gas ourselves up, but we short on breath. Talking about we eating, but who we really cooking. Dreaming about greens, but ain't nobody looking. No land, no acres, no seeds in the ground. When the hunger hits, who's gonna be around? We starving every day, and it just ain't the food. Feeding the hood garbage, got 'em acting they fool. We flossing with rides, stunting with chains, but these bars we spitting just bring more pain. We guilty as hell, preaching all these lies, selling debt to the kids, and we acting surprised. We commercialize the pain, broadcast the grief, tell the youth to hustle, but hide the beef. We glorify the trap, invite them to the flames, just like Reagan brought the crack on planes. Back in the 80s when the streets got soaked, my people, my brothers, all got choked. Reagan said no trades, but we know the deal. He left us in the dirt, man, that shit was real. I was just a shorty watching it unfold, old enough to see how we got sold. War on drugs, but it was war on us. Cops on our necks, no love, no trust. They labeled us thugs, beast on the block, made us kiss the pavement while they cleaned our clock. Prison became business thanks to Reagan's game. Free labor is the truth in America's name. Slavery's dead, man. That's just a word. Read the 13th Amendment, it's still absurd. They lock us in cages, serving time for life. Double digits for wisdom, cutting sharp like a knife. I'm here to say, the chains in the air, it's time we break free, start showing we care. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. And you already know we always kick this off with independent music. And I have Don Tripp, Hello Darkness, and we'll be right back right after this.
What good is night without darkness? It's just light.
What's up, G-Rock?
You don't know what I've been through, so how I move just might offend you. Nothing left to prove, I'm somewhere secluded. Can't say it was easy, but this cool ruthless. Born in the dark, but now I'm shining. Top spot locked, that's where I'm climbing. Too high, walking and change the climate in here. Darkness that I'm from is the darkness you feel.
If it walk like a duck, it's a duck. Talk like a plug, you a plug. You can dress like me, you can act like me, but you never gonna be one of us. Cut from a cloth you can't import. Born in the dog and I carry a torch. I done had everything at least once, but I ain't never had any remorse. Niggas ain't rooting for us, and that's cool with me. I buy cars and guns by the 2s and 3. Dope game just like the cars I drive. Been 15 years since I used the key. Streets ain't cool as it used to be. I'm good, I'm grown, I'm out of the way. Looking at you with the blanket stare. I walk in the bank with a smile on my face. Walk in the bank with the fire on my waist. The money I make, niggas dying to take. For anyone keeping an eye on my cake, I promise you making a dire mistake. Life's a bitch, I'm a son of a gun, and when I was born to blast. Big and bad, you step my way if you want no saying.
You better not cross my thugs, my niggas really bad it. I promise we been about that action. We about to smoke out this bitch, we on whatever they with. I never sleep cause I'm up and I'm full of them beans. Please do not bother me, bitch, I be ballin' and shooting like Steph. These hoes foul, where's the ref? And I came from the bottom, I pray with my mama, cause I got a son and a daughter that know I'm a problem. I know I should stop, but I'm constantly popping them. I need some help cause the devil keep calling. I'm in the trap and I'm chasing the chick, I'ma dump at the law, I'ma die for the set. I'ma kick that bitch out when I burn up her head. Pull up and it's on to the next, and I'm riding for all of my slimes. We pop at a op and whoever else watching. I don't trust a bitch or a rat or a doctor. He tried to run in the spot, so I shot him. I'm never in traffic, they say I'm an addict. My bitch is savage, is ready to crash. Hey, I got some niggas that's really some hitters that itchy to get on you fuck niggas ass on God.
You don't know what I've been through, so how I move just might offend you. Nothing left to prove, I'm somewhere secluded. Can't say it was easy, but this cool ruthless. Born in the dark, but now I'm shining. Top spot locked, that's where I'm climbing. Too high, walking and change the climate in here. The darkness that I'm from is the darkness you feel. Gotta feel me, dawg. Ain't no reason to fear me, dawg. Forgive how I'm coming, I guess that's the trauma from niggas that try to come kill me, dawg. When you see through the fog, you see who real, you see who your dog, you see who really get involved. When your back stuck against them walls, when you lock, who gon' answer them calls? Nobody. Skate park high, nigga, but not here grinding. All that hate in your heart will leave you blinded. Every time you see me pop out, I know you reminded of me.
That was Don Tripp. Hello, Darkness. Today, I'm going to be talking about a variety of different things, and I feel like they really do play a part what's going on in Minneapolis and also just Minnesota. But first, I want to get to, is this really where Republicans want to die on this hill, saying that they shouldn't bring guns to protests? Now, this situation, right, where they're calling Alex, whatever the hell his name is, Pretti, right, was saying that he had a gun and he was protesting. That's a little bit far-fetched for me. He was a part of a ICE watch group. The same thing with Renee Good. And see, we have a pattern, and you don't see that pattern in any other really states. Maybe you hear a little bit about Chicago, Los Angeles, maybe a little bit about New York, but really everything is about Minneapolis. And people should really look into that. Why is Minneapolis the epicenter of all of this, right? We know there's a lot of fraud. Is them protesting ICE and all this going to drastic measures? Because that's what I feel like a lot of this is, right? Because when we have community violence, I don't see this ICE watching, you know what I'm saying? I don't see them out there patrolling their own neighborhoods. So why are we doing it now with ICE? Because our communities were already a haven for a lot of this shit that we ourselves could have got rid of. And because we did it, this is the consequences. Because there was people like Reverend Tim Christopher, there was Marcus X. Smith, Angela Williams, numerous other people that were saying, hey, we need a change. We need something to happen right now because our officials aren't doing it. So when the feds came in, a lot of people, I'm not going to say my opinion has changed because I still feel like this, right? A lot of people are upset about Alex Pretti, right? But not upset enough about the fucking fraud that has made Minnesota a laughing stock, right? Because when people talk about this fraud, it's always about the $9 billion or, we were just letting all this fraud go on. But that's really what was going on. That's how it looks. So when Nick Shirley came in here and did those videos all the way back in, well, he did it, I guess it was December, so it wasn't all the way back. But because it was a conservative or, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, right? But Nick Shirley's video really spotlighted what was going on in Minnesota, and it was still happening. And people are really kind of bypassing it because of what happened to Renee Good, and then now what happened to Alex Pretti. Now, to me, I feel like there's a lot of selective outrage when it comes to this, right? Because I don't see people patrolling their own neighborhoods to get the gangbangers out, to get so that people aren't selling drugs, aren't loitering, drinking, and just doing stupid ass shit. But now we want to cry because, first of all, this is the one thing that I really, really don't understand. And I'm not going to correct myself on any of this, even when it came to Renee Good. I would have not told Ashley to drive off. And now it even comes to Alex Pretti, right? If you have a gun, and this is really, you put your own self at risk. You are armed and you're tussling with ICE agents, Border Patrol, whatever you want to call them, right? I guess there's two different agencies. So you're fighting with them. You're in these little groups and they're blowing whistles and they're trying to, because I don't see any of this goes on when the Minneapolis police are going into North Minneapolis and chasing our kids and making it unsafe for the community. I don't see none of these white ass people doing any of this shit. Y'all ain't strapped going to fight the Minneapolis police. So why are you comfortable fighting the federal, fighting ICE, fighting Border Patrol? Is it because of Trump? Is it because of one man? That's what's really crazy to me, because you need to go talk to your people in Congress, because they can change what's happening in Minnesota, right? And I know they had a court case this morning or whatever, and I'm going to say this. This is my little 2 cents on any of that shit, right? Is I really do believe if there wasn't ICE, whatever, watching the way that it was, right? If they were not trying to chase people with their cars and follow, honk their horns and blow whistles. So they're not de-escalating a situation. They're escalating it even more. Because where is that de-escalation skills in all this, right? We're asking federal agents to sit here and to de-escalate problems. And a couple have had one guy the other night had his tip of his finger. Somebody bit him. So they bit off the tip of his finger, and it's like, damn, is that really peaceful protesting? Is that really peaceful protesting? Because number one, y'all don't do that to the local gangbangers. You guys don't do that to the motherfucking drug dealers in our corners, in our city, but yet you do it to ICE. You do this is what I do not understand. So why are you putting yourself in danger when this is the whole thing that I really want people to think about, right? And I don't care what DHS and Donald Trump says, or even what Walls and Frey are saying, right? Here's my 2 cents. And what anybody should know if you're out carrying guns at what they're going to call as protests, right? Is you put your life, the minute you come out here and you want to call yourself ICE watching or doing all this other kind of shit, they don't have the same kind of laws that Minneapolis police, Hennepin County, state troopers, they don't have the same laws, right? They have what's called supremacy, federal supremacy. How can we show that Alex Pretti should not have been killed? Because with all the shit that comes out in signal conversations, all the things that have come out in videos, and then you see other things of people impeding federal investigations, they're obstructing, they're making it harder, they're making it violent at these hotels. Because if you can't say that there was a peaceful protest last night, we really have a serious issue here in America, and especially in Minneapolis, because if you call breaking windows and trying to force yourself into a hotel that is private property, how is that not wrong? The same thing y'all want to say about the church. Y'all have to know the laws. Y'all are putting yourselves in danger because, number one, you don't know the federal laws. And that's obvious. That is obvious. Y'all over here, that's what's crazy to me that I really, really can't understand is y'all will put your life in jeopardy over some immigrants, but y'all won't put it over your own neighbors. Your own neighbors. What about all the cars that are getting stolen at night, are broken into, all the robberies? Y'all ain't trying to protect the businesses. This is what's crazy to me, what I can't understand. And I want to say this to Black people. If you out there, go bring your ass back in the house, because the only people out there is the people that they're fighting for so that they can protect what they have. Let's be honest. They're protecting their vote. They're protecting their money, because you're not going to bite the hand that feeds you. That's why you don't ever see these Minnesota representatives and senators acting like, oh, we're this, we're that. But when it really comes down to it, where are they at? They're not here. They're not sitting here helping the poor people. That's the same thing. I just so much I want to fucking say, man, because I'm really saddened by what I see out here, because I hear a lot of people say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. I don't see people out there standing up for something. I see y'all falling for anything. For anything. Because two wrongs don't make a right. I'm gonna say that again. Two wrongs don't make a right. Because I will tell you like this: slavery was legal in America. Yes, it was hundreds of years ago, right? And when people know better, they do better. But that they haven't done better. You would think that they would do better, but they're not. So I want to talk about a little bit on how DHS and Kristi, Noem are saying that you really shouldn't bring guns to protest. Now, I do think if you're going to sit here and ice watch and do all these things and put your life in jeopardy, because I will tell you right now, what happened the other day with Alex, that's not a protest. I don't care what people say. Neither was Renee Good. Those are not protests. So when people are bringing their guns, I don't even know why we're having this debate when it comes to bringing guns to protest, because Alex Pretti was not a protest. Neither was Renee Good. Neither one of those. It's pretty good that y'all sit here making it that way, because that's the DFL narrative. That's the house niggas. That's their narrative. But the truth should be neither one of here's the thing of it is, if people weren't out here putting themselves in harm's way, we wouldn't see this. We wouldn't see these stories. We wouldn't see this story, because do y'all hear about Rochester on Saturday? What happened? No, you don't, because they wanted to tell you all about was what happened to Alex Pretti. Not that there was ICE officers and somebody rammed their vehicle into the ICE agents. Oh, nobody want to talk about that shit though. Y'all are putting these people, this the one crazy thing is, stop crying that these people are in the right in some kind of way, because they're not. Renee put her own life in jeopardy. The same thing with Alex Pretti. Because what are these people supposed to think, the federal agents? What are they supposed to think when all the rhetoric is, and they see this old goofy ass shit of kill the federal agents, kill ICE, blah, blah, blah. You got to do this, you got to do that. And then we see situations of where people had weapons because Renee Good could have used their car as a weapon. The ICE agent didn't know that. He didn't know that. He didn't. Here's the one thing that I want to say, because if y'all really do believe that Renee Good wasn't trying to hurt anybody, then why didn't Renee just park the car and get out? Why didn't Renee Good just, so that nobody got hurt, why not just put the car in park and come out? Why is that so hard? Why is that so hard? I really, really want to know, why is that so hard? Because to me, it's not. It's not hard at all. We make it hard. We make it hard because we put these people, these federal agents, these ICE, Border Patrol, whatever we want to call it, right? We put them in a position to make split-second decisions. They don't know what Renee Good was thinking. They didn't know if she was going to try to hurt them. They didn't know if she was going to try to run away, because her wife wasn't even in the vehicle. Let's remember that. You have to remember what these people are thinking. So you're in a situation, you see that the wife or the girlfriend, whatever they want to call it, was outside recording. Now, Renee Good is in the vehicle. She's telling her, while she's opening the door, trying to open the door, just drive off, just drive off. Why are you going to put yourself in danger? I really want to know, why are you going to put the situation to where people have to make split-second decisions? If you're just really out there ice watching, if you're really out there just peaceful protesting, why are you putting yourself in danger? That's what I really, really want to know. Why are you putting yourself in danger? So let me get to this video. And this is, they're talking about DHS's about guns at protest.
Officials have said that it is unlawful to carry a firearm at protests and demonstrations, even if somebody is legally permitted to do so.
That issue is at the center of the debate over yesterday's deadly shooting of Alex Pretti. As Fox 9 investigator Paul Bloom tells us tonight, the opinion expressed by federal authorities has not held up in court.
The Trump administration doubling down Sunday on challenging protesters' rights to legally carry a firearm. You cannot bring a firearm loaded with multiple magazines to any sort of protest that you want. It's that simple. You don't have that right to break the law and incite violence.
Local officials confirmed Alex Pretti was lawfully permitted to carry a gun when he was fatally shot by Border Patrol agents Saturday morning.
When someone makes the choice to come into an active law enforcement scene, interfere, obstruct, delay, or assault law enforcement officers, and they bring a weapon to do that, that is a choice that individual made.
It is not the first time the Department of Homeland Security has challenged Second Amendment rights of those exercising their First Amendment rights during immigration operations. Federal agents arrested and charged 2 people who had lawfully carried loaded firearms to a Chicago protest last year, according to court records reviewed by the Fox 9 investigators. At the time, the U.S. attorney said in that case, quote, "These are potentially explosive situations, and if people start bringing firearms or they think they can bring firearms, I think that's a reflection on his dangerousness and the need to protect the public in addition to protecting the safety of the agents." But that claim did not hold up in court after a federal grand jury took the rare step of declining to indict those protesters.
This notion that you are somehow fair game by carrying a firearm in public seems incredibly contrary to the Second Amendment.
Rick Hodgson is a former prosecutor and attorney with the Minnesota Post Board who oversaw investigations into law enforcement use of force encounters.
If I am a permit holder and lawfully allowed to carry a gun, am I allowed to show up with that gun at a protest, at a demonstration, to observe law enforcement in action? Am I allowed to do that?
Minnesota law makes it a crime to participate in a riot while you are armed with a firearm. Minnesota law does not make it a crime to carry a firearm in public and watch the behavior of others, including law enforcement officials.
The debate over carrying a firearm to a protest of any kind exploded on the weekend political talk shows.
When an officer tells you to back off and gives you orders, you should comply and explain. You shouldn't show up with weapons.
And on social media, where an assistant U.S. attorney in California wrote on X, quote, "If you approach law enforcement with a gun, there is a high likelihood they will be legally justified in shooting you. Don't do it." The NRA clapped back that this sentiment is, quote, "dangerous and wrong," and that responsible public voices should be awaiting a full investigation, not demonizing law-abiding citizens. And the leader of one of the staunchest gun rights groups in Minnesota shared his concerns with the rhetoric in a live interview with Fox 9.
He has a permit to carry. It's not unlawful to be carrying while you're exercising your First Amendment. You don't have to pick between which rights you exercise. It's not a crime to be near police officers. It's not a crime to be in a protest with a firearm.
And while Saturday's deadly shooting brought plenty of fresh debate and discussion to this issue, this 8-year-old post found some fresh traction online. Quote, "The Second Amendment is not for hunting. It is not for self-protection. It is there to ensure that free people can defend themselves if, God forbid, government became tyrannical and turned."
I want to talk about this for a minute, right? Because the Second Amendment has really been out there, right? And I want to say this. Why is it okay to bring guns to protest when the Black Panthers, this is the reason why we have fucking gun laws. And y'all niggas don't even understand that, right? This is how fucking stupid I really do believe that some Minnesotans and even politicians are, because the Black Panthers out in California brought weapons to the state capitol when Ronald Reagan, was it Ronald Reagan? I think it was Ronald. So why are we mad? When we Black people have already been known, we've already, this is the one crazy thing that I really don't think people really understand, right? Is that for a very long time, they have always found Black people to be a threat when we go to protest with guns. Now, is what Alex and Renee were doing, was that protest? There weren't riots, but there wasn't a protest. So What do we call that? Because people are putting themselves in danger for something that y'all wouldn't even put yourselves in danger to make your own community safer. I really want people to think about that. Even when I see these niggas out here, right? When they talking about they're all gun, blah, blah, blah. Why weren't this one crazy thing, right? Is 21 Days of Peace and Jerry McAfee thought they were trying to protect the community that one night, right? And this is how really idiotic I really do believe people are. Because if you're trying to protect others, you're not just going to shoot anywhere. Because that's what they did. That's what Jerry McAfee and then his little 21 Days of Peace church members, whatever the fuck you want to call it, they shot back and didn't know what they were shooting at because they were blindly just shooting. One of the bullets went into a kid's bedroom where kids sleep, kids play. Like, come on, we're not making our community any safer. We're not. That's one crazy thing, right? Because I want to ask people is we're in that same situation. I shouldn't even say it's the same, right? But if you're protecting your community members, because here's the one thing is that dude was trying to reach for something where his holster was. I don't know if he was trying to reach for his gun, if he was trying to protect it. I don't know. The same thing those ICE agents, then Border Patrol, whatever you want to call them, didn't know where he was trying to grab from. So I think it's really fucked up. People could call me a bootlicker, you can call me whatever. But we really have to sit here and decide because there shouldn't be no ground. There shouldn't be no middle ground on what's right and what's wrong. Because why are we having an argument that automatically comes down to politics? Because why aren't people talking about why they took guns from the Black Panthers who were protesting their right to bear arms? Because they felt like they needed to do that to protect their own communities. So what is any different now? When Ronald Reagan and these people put gun laws just because they didn't want to see Black people fight for self-protection. Fight for self-protection. And if you really do believe that was for self-protection, that on Saturday or Friday, whatever day that was, you're wrong. You're wrong. That was not. And to put a situation into Kyle Rittenhouse and what happened on Saturday, they're not the same. They are not this. Why are we trying to compare? The same thing that people are trying to put where the U.S. Marshals had to walk the little Black girl to school. And so now they try to, I don't understand. Why do y'all do that? Why are we trying? Even the same thing with Anne Frank. Those are not the same. They're not the same. So why are we trying to compare? Because Black people have a ton of stories on how our own government has locked up innocent people, who has killed innocent people for centuries, for generations. But we don't talk about that. Black Wall Street, they always didn't want Black people to have anything. And this is not the same as immigration. It's not. Because this is the one thing that I do here. I've even watched a couple documentaries that was going back to the, I would say 96, 97, 98. And that's when I did see a lot of the Somalian community, because I lived in Rochester. So I did see the community get a little bit bigger, but they got bigger through Africans. I don't have nothing against Somalians. Some of my best friends, right? People that I love to this day and would do anything for them are Somalian. And I consider them my blood, my family. So to come out here and say that, oh, they shouldn't be here. Hey, I don't even really want to get into that conversation because I do have family members whose parents are of Somali heritage. So I don't know where the safe is. I know people have talked about getting rid of birthright citizenship. For me, that wasn't for immigrants. That was for the descendants of chattel slavery, whose people were property at one point. Here in America, under our American laws, that black people were property. How is it any fair, or even to compare a time where people are immigrants, but they still have a right to choose? They have a choice to do wrong or right. And because too many people here in Minnesota looking the other way, are being a part of it because they feel like they're doing something, but it only brings money and chaos to Minnesota. And that's what we really need to have a conversation about.
Turned against its citizens. The man who posted this, the late Charlie Kirk. Paul Bloom, Fox 9.
Tonight, lawmakers in Minnesota reacting to yesterday's shooting and the ongoing investigation into the matter. On social media, Republican Representative and House Majority Whip Tom Emmer said, in part, unlike my Democrat colleagues, I'm going to let law enforcement conduct their investigation and not jump to asinine conclusions. We are grateful no Border Patrol officers were harmed. Republican State Representative Walter Hudson used social media to claim Alex Pretti brandished a gun while impeding federal law enforcement.
And when asked, Representative Hudson could not provide evidence to support his claim and didn't provide further comment to Fox 9. In addition, a community note was added to his post stating, quote, there is zero video evidence or witness statements that the victim brandished a firearm in any way. And you can see that addition on the bottom of the tweet there. Hudson also later posted.
I'm not going to stick up for Walter here, but what I'm going to say is that our laws here in Minnesota are very vague, especially when it comes to certain gun laws. And brandishing is very, very defined, very vague in Minnesota. So I'm not gonna, we do need video because we have seen stories where we were told that they had a weapon and they didn't. And then when we see the video comes out, that's not actually how it was. So yes, we do need video. So I'm not going to really sit here and say that Walter was right because he's an elected official. So everything that that man says, he should really be conscious of saying, because misinformation and he's done this his whole fucking political career. I'm not even going to lie. He's done this when he compared slavery to getting the shot, or you know what I'm saying? So I can't really say his party's any fucking different, because I do believe that there's a big ass difference. And just because we have an official statement doesn't mean that that's what the video shows us. But a video can only, we have to look at not just little 2 minutes that they want to show us, or the 15 or 30 seconds. Because I'm sure that interaction was a whole 10 to 15 minutes long, but we weren't getting that. We weren't getting the part where they were impeding federal officers or they were obstructing federal officers from doing their jobs. We're not getting that part of it. And I'm going to be honest, because that's how all this shit leads up to. It leads up to people, especially when it comes to Border Patrol or ICE, having to make split-second decisions. And they don't know if these people are just here to protest or if they're here to really actually hurt them. So I actually do. This is part of that rhetoric that comes with it. This is part of the consequences that comes with these decisions, that you think that bringing a gun to a protest is A-okay. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if something happens, they're going to make that situation look that you brought a gun to harm them and not to peacefully protest. I really do want people to remember that, because they try to spin it, and I will say this, they try to spin it any way that they can, and that's the way it usually happens. I want to talk about last night, and I want people to see this, and I want people to understand.
All right, the cold weather didn't seem to stop protesters from swarming a Minnesota hotel overnight, which they believe is housing ICE agents. This is still going on.
It all comes as a Minnesota judge holds a hearing today after ordering DHS to preserve all evidence from this weekend shooting. Madeline Rivera live from Washington with the details. Maddie.
Good morning, Carly and Todd. This has become a familiar scene in Minnesota. Protesters gathering at hotels where they believe federal agents are staying, clashing with them and making any noise they can by banging drums or blowing whistles. In one instance, protesters attempted to push their way through a blockade that agents tried to form near a hotel's front door. The anger in the state has intensified after the fatal shooting of 37-year-old Alex Pretti. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem says her agency is leading the probe, but state officials say they want to do an investigation as well, and they've secured a temporary restraining order blocking federal officials from destroying evidence. Minnesota leaders accuse federal authorities of blocking their access to the crime scene.
I don't care if you're conservative, liberal, or whatever, but you should at least be in favor of conserving evidence in a homicide. And to have to go get an order from a judge to preserve that evidence is extraordinary and should alarm everyone who believes in equal justice under the law.
DHS says Pretti tried to obstruct an active law enforcement operation, and Noem says the agent who fired his weapon was afraid for his life. Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bavino says agents are operating under stressful circumstances.
Let's think of what those agents were doing on that scene, making a split-second decision. You've had 24 hours to try and armchair quarterback things. That agent had a split second to make a decision.
But as the protests rage, several federal sources tell our Bill Malugin they're frustrated with some of the narratives and claims from DHS, and they say they support the mass deportation agenda from the Trump administration, but they have concerns about the way it's being carried out. President Trump telling the Wall Street Journal his administration is reviewing everything about the incident. Carly and Todd.
Madeline Rivera, thank you. With that, let's bring in former DHS Deputy Assistant Secretary Jonathan Fahey. And Jonathan, I'm confused because I went to law school, and albeit I haven't practiced in a number of years, but you saw Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, there saying it is uproarious that we need to go to court to get the DHS and ICE to preserve this evidence in this case. Is that hearing and that action by the AG there even necessary, or is this all political grandstanding from AG Ellison, from the Minnesota judge who is going to hold today's hearing? Because evidence in a case like this is going to be preserved anyway.
Right.
You're exactly right. And what he's doing is abusing the court system as another way to defame ICE, to defame law enforcement, to defame the Trump administration. It's totally inappropriate. But remember, just last week, Keith Ellison, when talking about the FACE Act, didn't even understand what it was and had clearly never read it, but he's willing to go out on TV and talk about all these issues. But it's clearly a political stunt. What's going to happen is the federal government's going to investigate this case. The evidence will be preserved. If the state wants to do a parallel investigation, they can have at it, do whatever they want, but they're not entitled to be a part of the federal investigation. And ultimately, as we've talked about before, the state, if they try to charge these officers or this officer, they're going to ultimately fail in federal court because it will get removed to federal court and dismissed under the supremacy clause, under what's called supremacy clause or federal officer immunity, which has been precedent from the Supreme Court since 1890. So all he's doing is trying to continue to stir things up. It would be so nice if
I want people to sit here and not look at it from a Republican side. Don't look at it as a Democratic, right? Look at all this in the lens of individuals that just want to go home, go to work, and not be, to be honest, be bothered by a lot of this shit. Put that into their perspective. And I know a lot of people, depending on who they follow, because I know a lot of people might follow Cortez or they follow Georgia Ford or Don Lemon. You're being indoctrinated. You're being indoctrinated. Indoctrinated. And why are we standing up to that? Because right now, I can tell you right now, what Keith Ellison is doing is a load of baloney. Bullshit. Same thing with Governor Walz. Same thing with Mayor Jacob Fry, because BCA, Minneapolis Police, Minnesota State Patrol has fucked up investigations for years when it came to individuals of Black descent, Didn't matter if it was an African. Didn't matter if it was somebody that looked black. They got the death chair. Same thing. And that's what's great. It was never about the truth. It was never about the truth. It's about what they can prove. What they can prove. And that's why I was really sad. Even with Chris Medell's announcement this morning he wanted to say that public defenders, and are you really serious? You're saying this shit because, number one, you're a paid attorney. You're paid, because I will tell you right now, those public pretenders, they're not fighting for the black and poor communities. They're fighting for what they can prove. And that's what's crazy, because it's obvious that a lot of these people have never been through the same system the way that some of us have, because they've either had the little titles. They've either had attorney or a doctor. But at the end of the day, it's just regular ass people. It's just regular ass people. And I do really believe that we should listen, because these ICE officers or Border Patrol are not going to be charged. You can try in state court, but these were federal operations. So there's no way that, and listen to John Fahey, the same way with Tom Homeland, the Border Cesar is coming in here today. Stop with the selective outrage. Stop with it. And let these people do their jobs, because you allow Minneapolis police to do it. They don't need to show you a fucking warrant when they're breaking into houses, or they don't. Y'all ain't asking the questions that, oh, well, it looked like he had a gun when he actually had a cell phone, or he had a Subway sandwich. We're always the bad guys. We're always the bad ones. Doesn't matter if they have mental health issues. They'll say they're a career criminal. Instead of saying that, they've cried out to the community. They've cried out for help, and people ignored it until they committed, I shouldn't even say committed a crime, but until something bad happens. And then instead of saying his mental health had played a big ass major part of it, you wanted to say he's a criminal, because that's the easiest way to make us look like we ain't worth the shit, that we're not worth nothing. And that's what happens. And we sit here and we do it. Our own people do it. Our own fucking people. Our own people. Because even when it came to Amir Locke, I do feel like that was a bad shooting. But if people understood of why that warrant the way that it was, then you would find out. This shit just trips me out, man. It really just trips me out, because people never want the whole story. They only just want a narrative and what they can prove. It's never about the truth.
Walt, Fry would at some point take a level of maturity, because it's their state that they should be trying to protect, and instead it's constant political theater and always racing to the bottom with him and those other two.
Yeah, just to sum it up for the audience, you can't bring this suit. You can't bring these charges if you're the state. This is complete grandstanding, and they're just doing it to try to sway public opinion in their favor. And they shouldn't be doing that, because as an AG, you're an officer of the court. You should be respectful of the law and the law that exists, and you can't make it up. It's very, very concerning. I do want to talk about this, though, Jonathan. Fox News congressional correspondent Bill Malugin reporting that, quote, there is extreme frustration with DHS officials going out on TV and putting out statements claiming that Alex Pretti was intending to conduct a massacre of federal agents or wanted to carry out maximum damage, even after numerous videos appeared to show those claims were inaccurate. And look, admittedly, the video of the shooting is tough to watch. President Trump came out and said as much over the weekend. If you were running this investigation, Jonathan, what questions would you be asking to bring down the temperature to your earlier answer?
Well, the most important thing to find out is what what exactly happened, or as close as you could get to what exactly happened, and what was the perception of these agents? Did they have a reasonable fear that they were in danger of their lives? We do know Alex Pretti was engaged in committing a felony. We do know that. We do know he had a gun. And I believe we do know that the agents were aware that there was a gun there too. Beyond that, I think you want to find out what's going on. But the most important thing, which we've seen too many times with these, a narrative takes off, and it's the wrong narrative, and it's usually the narrative that's anti-law enforcement. And I always go back to Michael Brown from, what was that, 2015 or so, that the narrative of hands up, don't shoot took a life of its own, even though the holder DOJ determined it was totally false. So the one reason DHS, I think, is getting in front of these things is to prevent a false narrative from taking over. But one thing we do know in any of these, even when everyone's acting in good faith, the initial story typically evolves to something a little bit different, and that's normal, not just in criminal cases, but in life and news in general. But I do think the most important thing is, let's find out what happened, do a very good investigation. The FBI will do a phenomenal investigation and put it out there for the public to see what they did, what they looked at, who they interviewed, and I think that will do a lot. It won't appease the left, no matter what happens. Keith Ellison and his crowd, we all know what they want, which is mass amnesty for everyone here. So they're going to fight this no matter what. But I think the public has an interest in knowing, and it'll be quite helpful.
Jonathan Fahey, thank you so much.
And I know this isn't independent. It's not bipartisan. I really do believe Fox puts out a Republican kind of narrative, conservative kind of narrative. I can't say that, to say Alex Pretti was, I don't know if I can really go that far, but maybe I can. Because if you really go back and think about it, just because the Black Panthers are open carrying, they saw them as threats. So it's obvious that when people are carrying, and I can't really call that peaceful protesting, because that wasn't a protest. That wasn't, no matter how much people want to say that wasn't a protest. That was not at all a protest. What happened was some ICE shit was going on, and he wanted to impede, obstruct. They can call it that he was trying to protect a woman in the crowd. I'm really not going to go that far, because I'm going to tell you like this: mind your motherfucking business, because y'all niggas ain't over here getting in the middle of it when these men in your same kind of crowd are sexually abusing or sexually harassing women. But y'all care about women now, and we're supposed to believe that. But when it comes down, y'all want to make excuses. Oh, he was drunk, or he just maybe sniffed too much cocaine. Like, wait, are you not even hearing the words that are coming out of your mouth? So now it's okay for cocaine to be used, and now it's okay for people to be drunk and do whatever the fuck they want to do, because y'all are saying it's okay. Not because it's wrong, because your party sees it as right. And that's what's crazy. People can say about Trump, and I will say, hey, it is what it is. Because the same thing that goes on to the Democratic Party is the same thing that we're seeing with the Republicans. It might be it's just differently. Democrats really kind of want to hide, and Republicans do it in front of your face.
Enforcement, or ICE, the agency that's been at the heart of Donald Trump's deportation plan, well, they've been on a hiring spree. Like, check out this TV ad they've been running.
Join the mission to protect America with bonuses up to $50,000 and generous benefits. Apply now.
But online, the recruitment campaign uses different language that's familiar to far-right extremists, raising the question, who exactly is ICE trying to recruit?
Last summer, the agency was given $8 billion to turbocharge recruitment. The hiring campaign included social media outreach, which caught the attention of experts who study the far right.
I would describe it as oddly very familiar, as someone who has been looking at the white nationalist and neo-Nazi movement for nearly a decade now. And it's disturbing to see that coming from a government agency.
In August, ICE posted this image on Instagram and X. Note the tagline, "Which way, American man?" It's a meme often used by right-wing influencers and which refers to this book, a 700-page anti-Semitic rant popular with neo-Nazis. Another post, this one from October, has the tagline, "America for Americans," a xenophobic slogan used repeatedly by the Ku Klux Klan. Experts don't think these references are a coincidence, because it keeps happening. Hannah Gase has spent years researching right-wing extremism online. She walked us through the coded language she's been seeing in the ICE recruitment posts, like this one, that uses imagery from the video game Halo.
So anti-immigrant groups have described immigrants coming into this country, particularly non-white immigrants, routinely as a flood.
Or this one, posted just after the killing of Renee Good in Minneapolis.
What are we looking at?
So this phrase, "we'll have our home again," right here, that is a lyric from a song released in 2020 by a white nationalist group called the Pine Tree Riots, affiliated with a white nationalist organization in the United States called the Manor Bund. Some organizations like the Proud Boys kind of took up the song as their own. They started singing it at rallies.
And the Proud Boys, a far-right group that's listed as a terrorist entity in Canada, have taken notice. On the messaging app Telegram, one chapter reposted that ad next to a picture of a literal dog whistle, adding the line, "Message received." It's one of several posts from affiliated accounts encouraging members to apply. ICE says it received more than 220,000 applications in its recruitment drive last year. And some are wondering how many of those applicants were responding to the controversial social media posts.
It's unprecedented for a government account that would normally focus on, pretty bland messaging and policy descriptions to be regurgitating white supremacist propaganda.
Heidi Barrick is the co-founder of the Global Project Against Hate and Extremism.
The most dangerous part about it is that this probably is attracting white supremacists and other racial extremists to perhaps join the ranks of ICE. And that is a very toxic, very dangerous situation if it's happening.
ICE has been rushing its new recruits into service, reportedly cutting training time in half. But Barrick says the danger of recruiting with extremist language goes beyond who might get hired.
It's the normalization that I find the most frightening. I thought we had all, not just in the United States, but generally come to the position that white supremacy is a dangerous ideology, that neo-Nazism or the Nazi regime are dangerous and shouldn't be part of mainstream society, polite society, period. But apparently not. The Trump administration doesn't seem to think that. So when the most powerful government maybe in the world is mainstreaming white supremacy, we should all be very, very concerned.
Social media outreach is only one part of the ICE recruitment strategy. The agency is spending millions, according to the Washington Post, on geotagging technology to target ads at specific demographic groups, like people who attend UFC fights or gun shows. ICE also rolled out TV ads aimed at police officers in sanctuary cities, where illegal immigrants can still receive public services.
In sanctuary cities, you're ordered to stand down while dangerous illegals walk free. Join ICE and help us catch the worst of the worst.
David, who do you think ICE is trying to attract with its recruitment strategy? David LePan is a former spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security, which is responsible for ICE.
It sends a very clear message about who they're trying to attract. And I said, it's people that want to get involved in getting rid of people that have been determined to, or been called enemies, foreigners that are somehow ruining our country.
The Department of Homeland Security did not respond to our request for comment about the extremist content of its social media posts. When questioned by other media, the department has denied making references to white supremacist material. Indeed, its posts have been recirculated by other branches of the Trump administration. The White House says it's just posting, quote, banger memes. LePan, though, is not laughing.
I think it's important, for people to recognize that what's happening now is unusual, is unprecedented. It's not a matter of political party, right? Again, I worked in administrations of both types. under Congresses of various types of, whichever party was had the majority. This is unprecedented. It's not normal. It's not what we have seen in the past.
ICE is slated to get $30 billion by the end of the decade to fund its deportation campaign. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
My bad. I wanted to show y'all something from
Hack them like James O'Keefe or Nick Sotor. Well, this is exactly how they are highly organized and.
So I want to hold on.
What's up, guys? It's Benny.
I want to show this video because over the weekend there was some things by Cam Higby, I think it is, that he would put out his Cam that he put out here about the Signal chat, and it was infiltrated. And I want to show you how much elected officials, how much people from nonprofits, campaign, they were in this. And now, when are we going to see this as an actual issue and a problem when people are sitting here in little chats? Because I would tell you, this is what the police do. Everything that we've seen in this motherfucking chat group is the same things that police do. So what is any fucking different? Are these people actually a cult or some kind of organized group of a bunch of weirdos? Because that's how I really feel like it is. So I want people to watch this video and tell me what you think.
In case you were wondering how every left-wing violent terrorist is able to know precisely where ICE enforcement is happening in Minneapolis, look no further than this report from Cam Higby. Also, how does every single left-wing orc know where independent journalists are so they can attack them like James O'Keefe or Nick Sotor? Well, this is exactly how they are highly organized and illegally coordinating in order to stop federal lawful law enforcement. This is something that you could charge, by the way, under the KKK Act. You could prosecute this because this is precisely what they ended up trying to throw Proud Boys in prison for that weren't even at January 6th, because they were on chats and text messages talking about disrupting federal forces. And that people got 22 years in prison for this. Is this one of the biggest bombshell reports in history? Check this out from Cam Higby. I've infiltrated the organization's signal groups all around Minneapolis, the sole intention of tracking down federal agents, impeding, assaulting, and obstructing them. Buckle up, all will be revealed. Each and every area of the city has several signals. Let's start. Signal, of course, if you're unfamiliar, is a chat platform that allows people to chat with each other in an encrypted way. And in a way that, well, has the illusion of security, but it really isn't. Each area of the city has a signal. Let's start with the screen recording of the members of the South Side group. And so he is going out, Cam Higby, independent journalist, is going out and exposing these people. Minneapolis Signal Chat infiltrated. I have undercover inside these groups for days. You'll notice the emojis next to people's names. Here's a key for what these emojis mean. Look at how coordinated this is. License plate checker, aftercare provider, dispatch, mobile patrol, foot patrol. Look at these people. These are just straight up organized communist insurrectionists, like true insurrectionists. Minneapolis Signal infiltrated. For each occupation or shift position, protesters have undergone training. Who pays for this? It's unclear what their training entails, other than numerous slides of instructions. It's been mentioned repeatedly. Who is paying for this? Minneapolis Signal infiltrated. Each chat for a specific part of the city, the smaller districts are broken up into what is called patrol zones. Each guide has ICE chasers where they go down and chase federal forces. Minneapolis Signal, this is how you get like shootings like Rebecca Good, like you get people who are interfering with law enforcement, they're in these little group chat, they're like these little committed Marxists. They refuse to cooperate with law enforcement when they're apprehended, and they bring weapons. They try and kill law enforcement with their cars or with, as you saw yesterday, a gun, firearm. Here's a screen recording of the plate database as well and instructions. how to track license plates. Here's a screenshot of an active dispatch call. It's always active, as well as a shift change. You can see folks changing their emojis, clocking in and out. I'll attach below a video. This is extremely sophisticated. Pay attention to all of this. Look at this. A new group chat for each zone is made each day. The chats are dated and deleted at the end of each day, likely to avoid detection, record keeping, and consequences. Midday, the group chat has a maximum capacity of 1,000 people. Crazy. Here's more dispatch chatter where they tweak out when they discover a vehicle. Whistles and horns can be heard in the background.
But that ain't no different from when people were going through Parler and put all that information out here. And what did we see? How many elected officials, how many police officers were in these groups? And we figured out that some of them were 3%ers. Some of them were other hate groups. And nothing really came from it because to me, it really honestly died down. And this is, to me, the complete exact situation. So what is really any different when it comes to Americans, and especially when it comes to Minnesotans? Because what are you fighting for? If you're fighting against ICE out, like I don't get that shit, because y'all are not doing that to the Minneapolis police or the Hennepin County sheriffs, people that have traumatized and put trauma and pain and gave people PTSD in our neighborhoods for no reason. All because it was either Mayor Frey, Betsy Hodges, RT Ryback. Like, that's what you guys don't want to talk about, because a lot of these people are still involved. They might not be the mayor. They might not be the police chief anymore. But I can tell you this, they are somehow, some way, they're still involved. Now, when are we going to get rid of that cycle? Because I'm going to keep on telling y'all, they're a team. It's a team sport. Racism, I'm going to tell you like this. When it comes to people want to talk about white supremacy and all that shit, y'all ain't really talking about it, because the shit is like a team. The shit is like a team. If that team is running smoothly, you don't see these fucking problems. But now that the system is having some hiccups, this is when we're starting to see all this shit. And people really, really, in my eyes, should really speak up and speak out. But I'm going to tell you like this, black people, get y'all asses in the house. Get back on the couch and watch this shit on a stream. Because let these white people and let these immigrants go out here. I don't know why black people are putting their bodies on the line. I'm going to be honest, when y'all don't even put your bodies on the line for actual injustices that happen inside of our communities, but you want to put your bodies on the line for some undocumented immigrants.
Dispatcher asked for photos and videos of each plate for documentation purposes. Protesters use a mutual aid system. I tried to join the mutual aid in Bloomington. An admin told me that it was a vetted chat for teachers and that I'd need to describe my relationship with a school for the teachers of the. So all the teachers are in on this. ICE operations go all night. Coordinators frequently delete messages to cover their tracks. This is another layer of security on top of data chats. There's an admin for each of these several chats, generally consists of code names. Wow. And they're getting help from the state, obviously. Are you really surprised that the signal gate goes back to Waltz? It is he and Frey that encouraged exactly what they are doing. That's right, he and the mayor of Minneapolis. Alex Pretti was a member of the insurgency coordinated on Signal. This is Signal Gate. You can see here the man killed by federal agent was in the ICE neighborhood watch group. Yes, he was called there as a violent soldier in order to attack ICE. This is the point of this group. Alex Pretti is on the Signal conspiracy, highly organized ICE rapid response group. Observers are there to call ICE and to disrupt them. This is exactly what they're doing. Highly recommend that you don't do that. FBI threats following the expose of their Signal group. I'm going to find you. It's personal, you and me. There you go. Now they're threatening Cam Higbee with death for exposing them. Signal response to me exposing all they have. Right-wingers got a hold of some docs. I got to take some links out of the description and hide some things. If you have plate checking questions, ask or DM me. Who's checking these plates? In order to run a plate check, you've got to have access to law enforcement license plate technology, license plate reader technology. They have that because they're working with the police department. The Marxists in Minneapolis are working with the police department. Wow. Now they're sending PR talking points. They're incredibly organized. He was trained by the Signal Group. They knew how to obstruct ICE arrests. We know somebody is feeding the protester license plate information connected to the Signal app. We were working on that government official's name. They will be outed as soon as we find them. That's right. Somebody's working with federal law enforcement reading plate technology. Don't stop making her famous until she is arrested. Minnesota anti-ICE Signal Group leader who's been coordinating ICE riots is Amanda Kohler. She is a paid protester and organizer in the Minnesota State Senate candidate. She was a campaign strategist for Tim Walz, because of course it goes back to Tim Walz. You can show people the video of the armed Antifa terrorists conducting an illegal roadblock and interfering with federal law enforcement. Produce the Signal comms, and they will still tell you that Antifa doesn't exist. Political violence. Signal Minneapolis isn't sending don't shoot police wearing neon. Additionally, military troops are not Nazi feds. Don't shoot them. Just shoot everyone else. Look at this. My goodness. So like, don't, our guard members will wear neon reflective vests and they'll be close to the Minneapolis Police Department. Just make sure that you take out the feds. This is what the city of Minneapolis is saying. Everyone in the Signal community needs to be charged with conspiracy to impede or injure officers. Precisely. That's exactly correct. This would actually hurt. This is what you should, and this is what you must do. If the CIA actually does run Signal, which I believe that it does, I think was created by the CIA, you have to do this. Tim Walz's employees are directly coordinating with riot efforts through Signal chats, and Minnesota is in a state of open rebellion. It's important for the federal authorities to hammer Minneapolis. I know this is scary that Tim Walz gave the Signal Group access, the voter database in Minnesota. Wow. Look at this. Now people are naming and shaming. Meet Mark Green, Minneapolis. Mark is a planner for Target and a CPA tax manager. In their free time, Mark and Gretchen like to travel, spend time with their pets, and occasionally participate in impeding and obstructing federal agents in a Signal Group. I wonder what Target thinks about that. That's right. Elon Musk saying, wow, this threat is sobering. The right wing has nothing like this anywhere in the country for any purpose. Pay attention to this. You might find the daughter of a certain governor in one of these groups. Oops, I've said too much. That's right. Violent Minneapolis Communist Signal Network has been infiltrated and exposed. Great that thread reporting how thousands are part of a conspiracy in Minnesota using aliases on Signal to plan violent criminal conspiracies. Been revealed in multiple state and federal court cases involving Antifa. Signal is the app where they plan their terrorist directions and reserved for smaller cells for people to be recruited in real life encounters. This is actually a terrorist network. Yes. Right. If you didn't believe that this was an elaborately organized, funded operation, hopefully this will change your mind.
So I want to ask people, right? What is the difference between Hamas in Minneapolis, activists, whatever you want to call them, socialists, whatever the fuck they are, right? What is the difference between Hamas and a Democratic Party? Or even the Republicans, we'll put both of them in there. What is the difference? Because to me, there really isn't any. There really isn't any. There isn't any difference. The only difference is they're on American territory. That's the only difference, that they operate in American territories. That's the only fucking difference. They have idiotic ass followers who do things at hotels. We've seen an agent get his fingertip bit off. Agent last night at the hotel was bleeding really bad. We've seen other agents get hit. All other kinds of shit. What is really different? And then y'all come out to these I guess y'all, whatever y'all want to call them, protests. Because that's what they are. Y'all call them peaceful protests. But what is actually peaceful about them? What is actually peaceful about any of this shit? Because I will tell you like this, with the way that ICE, Border Patrol, feds, whatever came into our communities in Minnesota, that's why we see this outrageous, frivolous bullshit. It's because we have groups like this. But where were these groups when the community needed help? So that gangbangers and police weren't killing people. Nobody listened. Those prayers I will tell you like that, those ask for help went unanswered to a lot of people, which is really crazy. But when it comes down to this ICE shit, then you guys are asking for unity, but where's the accountability?
Civil war has already started. Too many people refuse to acknowledge it. All of the Minneapolis signal chats have been leaked. This account, 0 Hours, excellent account. Really, really smart research and investigations. And it looks like he is going through all of the receipts here and exposing people and naming them, shaming them, and hopefully destroying their lives. Goodness gracious. These are the people that are attacking your federal authorities on behalf of criminal alien rapists, fraudsters, and murderers. The feds are all in here. That's right. Freak out a little bit more. They have help from the state. This is what this proves. They have help from the state of Minnesota. The state of Minnesota is an active, open rebellion, confederacy, and insurrection. You have to have the Insurrection Act now. It's the only way to shut this down. Pray for all of our friends who are up there. I was planning on going, but I don't know, man. The block's getting really hot. I saw what happened to James O'Keefe yesterday. Anyway, pray for James O'Keefe, Nick Sotor, Nick Shirley, Cam Higby.
Man, the shit is getting ridiculous. And because our elected official, I was just going through his page, just looking at shit, just to be honest. And I do see a lot of weird ass shit. Oh yeah, I seen this one. This one was kind of crazy to me.
Medic. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Damn.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's people's own stupidity. If you don't understand what these are weapons, you have a serious problem. Like, dead ass. You have such a problem. Trump sending. Damn. Communists in Minnesota can't even tell an ICE agent from a federal prison guard. They almost lynched the guy who was only standing guard to protect businesses last night. These are lunatics and criminals. Oh, they got the person.
Get back!
Oh shit. See how that's not peaceful, and that's why people are getting hurt. I'm gonna be straight up. This is the reason why people are getting hurt. Crazy. Bananas. Ugh. Yep, Audrin was in it. That's crazy. How are y'all helping your communities? Because you're not worried about your constituents. You're not worried about your voters. I can definitely tell that you're nowhere near trying to protect 2 more lesbians, making trouble that the whole fucking alphabetical retarded bunch. Your main source of the problem are these mentally ill, vagina-eating weird fucks. Hell no. To be honest, it's getting crazy. These people this shit is getting way way, way ridiculous. Like, I haven't seen this much corruption of public officials since the days of Reagan. He had to clean out a whole city, Miami. I don't remember that. Does anybody remember Reagan cleaning out Miami? Because I will tell you the truth, that was a haven for drugs, drug dealers, people to run reckless, and which is crazy as hell to me. Yeah, they should be ashamed. I did see a lot of that shit last night until you see there he goes right there hurt. All 800 pounds. Ugh. Yeah, shit was getting out of hand. I will say like this, if people are going out there and you thinking you're trying to change something, you're not changing anything. You're not changing a motherfucking thing, because all you're doing is creating chaos. That's all you're creating is chaos. You're not making things better. You're not trying to figure out the solution. These people crazy, and I cannot really, for the life of me, I cannot understand this shit. Because y'all think this shit is okay. That's what's really crazy to me, is that people really do believe that this is what we call peaceful protesting. So then when we see people like Renee Good or Alex Pretti, that's why they tell us that shit. That's why they put these in. These people crazy. Yeah. Here goes another video from last night. That's not peaceful. Why do we think that's peaceful? Because I'm going to tell you right now, this is a business. That is a hotel. How is that peaceful when we're destructing private property? All because some ICE agents are staying there. That's crazy as hell to me. I really don't understand that when people never wanted to. Here's the crazy thing, because unless the people that were part of BLM, the organizers of like Nikema, right? You have the idiots that go here. And then you have the idiots, the leaders, right? Because I'm going to tell you like this. I remember, it reminds me of the 646, biggest mass arrest in Minnesota history. And when people started getting their court papers, and I went to my first court date, a whole bunch of people already had their charges dropped, the organizers. So then when the evidence, because there's discovery, that came out, I got a whole big ass package. It wasn't even to me, it was to Ashley. And I was helping her, go through it. We never had an attorney, none of that. We did our own cases by ourselves. And I'm like, wait, why is everybody else's in here? Why is Jess? Why is Nikema, Marquise? Why are all these people's things in here? And then I started to go through it. And I'm like, wait, I don't think we were supposed to get that. So I contacted Jordan Kushner, who is the lawyer. He's been a lawyer for Cortez. He's been a lawyer for Nikema. I asked him a couple of questions. And I said, hey, when Discovery came out, I got all this extra shit. Or Ashley got all of it, because it wasn't in mine. It wasn't in Stacy's. It wasn't in Lexi's. And people that got arrested, like Kayla, it wasn't in none, not even Josh Scott's. So I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy. Why does Ashley have all the shit? And then I started to realize that shit was given for a reason. Somebody was trying to tell people, like, hey, there's a reason why the organizers, their charges were dropped. But the rest of y'all are going to get charged. That's what I don't understand. So that's why I say these people aren't going to be on the front lines. You don't see Nikema at this type of shit. Where she fucked up and she went into that church, which is protected by federal law. You can't beat that. There's nothing Keith Ellison. There's nothing Governor Walz. There's nothing Mayor Jacob Fry, Melvin Carter. Because I remember when we went to a protest at his house on Operation Pull Up, that nigga called the police because it was getting too rowdy. So I'm really, really tired of these elected officials who complain and are hypocrites about one thing, but because it's ICE agents or that makes everything okay. That's a problem. The same thing how we seen Renee Good. Y'all act like that's law abiding. What these people are doing, that's not normal. That's nowhere near normal. That's not cop watching. That's not none of that shit. So I don't really understand why people Yeah, this shit crazy because it's really coming out. Because they're at a federal hearing this morning. Let's say I found a 10th Amendment violation. That the purpose of the surge is just to force the plaintiffs to change policies. If I were to issue a temporary restraining order immediately, would it be unappealable? I think people really need to start looking at what's really going on. Yeah, because there goes the DOJ. The effect of the lawsuit is removing officers that the president has decided have to be here. 4,000 troops to the state of Minnesota has not been vetted in a democratic process. Democratic. Yeah, okay. To attempt to use the 10th Amendment as both a sword and a shield is not allowed. Can the executive move 4,000 armed forces into a state to achieve change? Asking about the city's policies of not questioning people about immigration status. Judge asks, aren't there other cities that have that? I think this is something that people need to pay attention to. That is this morning in the court. So that there is a federal lawsuit. She's just down there, I don't know, tweeting. Maybe Bill Glenn is too as well. The DOJ, they can't escape this line drawing problem. What if the line was to end Operation Metro Surge while this case is moving forward? Let's just say I found a 10th Amendment violation. Let's see what the 10th Amendment says. Let's see. So the 10th Amendment, we'll read more. The 10th Amendment reserves power not delegated to the federal government to the states or the people, reinforcing the principle of federalism. The 10th Amendment, ratified on December 15th, 1791, as part of the Bill of Rights, states the power is not delegated to the United States by the Constitution, nor prohibited by it to the states, are reserved to the states respectively or the people. This amendment emphasizes the federal structure of the United States government, where power is shared between the national and state governments. Historical context: the 10th Amendment was introduced to address the concerns of anti-federalists who feared that a strong central government would infringe upon the rights of states and individuals. It was seen as a necessary assurance that the federal government would not overstep its bounds and that states would retain their sovereignty. I'll say it like this, right? Let's go into significance. Federalism. The 10th Amendment is a cornerstone of federalism in the United States, establishing that any powers not expectably granted in the federal government are reserved for the states or the people. This principle helps maintain a balance of power and prevents the federal government from becoming too powerful. Over the years, the 10th Amendment has been cited in various Supreme Court cases to limit federal authority, particularly in areas such as commerce and its taxation. It serves as a basis for arguments advocating states' right in contemporary political debates. I don't really feel like immigration, because that is up to the feds. So when we sit here and we're talking about the 10th Amendment, we have to really consider what that means, because I can tell you right now that this is where it gets really fucked up to me from a lot of people. And I really don't honestly believe. I'm gonna share this back to Esme. So I'm gonna go back to the Minnesota Supreme Court. Judge ends questioning of DOJ attorney. Minnesota City Attorney now up. What did your clients mean when they said we are beginning Operation Metro Surge? Wow. You must have the answer to what is the scope of this surge. The DOJ is struggling a little bit, says he will have full numbers later in the day. I think people needed to watch that. Again, you got to watch what's going on in your own communities. Especially, I'm a Minnesotan, so I definitely watch or keep track of what's going on around me, because I definitely want to know. I definitely want to make sure that I'm okay, that I'm all right, and that the people around me are all right and okay. Because to me, this shit is really, really, really. Oh, they got video. I should have knew that. They got video right now going at the federal building. Yeah, because that's where they're at. In Minneapolis, I'll just put the comments up there. You guys can see it. I will say this, is that people definitely need to watch their communities. I think that's crazy that, honestly, a lot of people don't understand or what's going on. I think it's time that we know better so that we can do better. And I think that if everybody's on the same wavelength, if we're on the same page, I think we'll be okay. But when we have different ideologies and we have different purposes or we have different agendas, that's where the problem comes in. Minneapolis City Attorney, surge has created such an environment of fear. What is needed now is to move the parties back to before, when Operation Surge began. I'm going to talk about that, because to me, I really wouldn't feel like we would have this surge if we didn't have all these sanctuary policies, right? Because California and Chicago, I will just say it like this. They're learning. Chicago's learning not to fuck with these feds, because they've seen when people have tried to run their vehicles into ICE cars, or they're damaging. You're actually seeing Chicago PD do something. You're seeing them speak out. But you're not seeing that in Minneapolis. You're not seeing that in St. Paul. What you're seeing is our police chiefs, our labor unions. They're taking a partisan stand. And that's where I'll tell you right now is that a lot of people are getting it fucked up, is because these corporations are really fucked it up. TRO needed now. It's not. I think Minneapolis really needs to change their policies. They need to enforce the laws. And just because we have ICE that is enforcing, I really do believe that Minneapolis police, Hennepin County, should all get on the same page as the feds. So we're not seeing this. So we're not seeing this chaos day in and day out. And I think that is actually the problem of where people don't want to do anything. I don't know why that was not playing. That was my bad. But that's the way that it is. And I don't think that anything is going to change anytime soon. I don't believe that. Even today, when it comes back from the Minnesota Supreme Court, if they do a TRO or a temporary restraining order, I really don't believe that is something that is really going to change too much. I really honestly don't believe that it's going to change much. Even when we had that Minnesota Supreme Court decision, it didn't change much. It did not change much. Let's be honest. Not much changed, and nothing is going to change until people stand up to their own local governments. Everybody wants to stand up for the executive. But what about the local? What about all this fraud? What about all this other shit that we're seeing? And people honestly ain't saying much. So I'm going to get up out of here for the day. It's been about an hour and a half. I'm going to be back same time, same place tomorrow. And I'm going to continue this conversation about the mayhem and the chaos that's going on in Minneapolis. And we need to come to a compromise. I don't know what that compromise looks like, but it's definitely not what Democrats, and that's a fucked up compromise. It's either their way or no way. So here is Belly Gang Cushington, Rent Due, and I will see y'all tomorrow, same time, same place.
I don't give a fuck about letting this beat start. Nigga, it commented on my post, it caught my son a retard. Shawty be commenting on my post, that bitch ain't got no regard. Nigga, it caught the police when I was on the run, he got him a reward. Big condo with a key card, when I be taking pictures, nigga, my partners charge a fee for it. I go F01s, you know them designers make my feet hard. I might go to Texas, hit up Johnny to make my teeth hard. Black trucks on the fleet guard, crack cook on the street guard. Nigga, I cook up work, I sold them for. Bitch so bad when she asked for money, I done it, feel like I owe the hoe. Nigga, I'm so booked up these days, nigga, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go. I don't even know where I real with all these bricks, but nigga, it's supposed to snow. Nigga, I'm supposed to be one of the ones. I'm running the circle around these little niggas.